Little Fleabay edition here today. I don't think we've done one of these for a while, so let's go through and let's actually kind of just go down the list on some of these and see what we see here. So if we look at Atlas Mill stuff, a few new things out here, nothing that I haven't seen before. There's a Shoreline milling head with Atlas milling attachment. It's up for auction. I didn't really look at it. Doesn't really intrigue me. Original Atlas Craftsman 6-inch 618 lathe milling cutter holder assembly, M6-945, $89.95. You know, there again, not real impressed. I hadn't looked at this before. What's it say? Original milling cutter holder assembly, M6-945 for Atlas Craftsman 6-inch 618 lathe. Drawbars 10 3/4 inch overall length, 3/8 diameter, 3/4 inch thread length, 16 thread per inch thread, and spacer is 1 5/16 inch length. Holder is 4 1/4 inches in length and 1/2 inch inside diameter, in good use condition. So that pretty much, if you don't have it, gives you most of the dimensions you need to build your own. So there's if you read some of these, there's a lot of information that you can glean as to dimensions on these. Once you look at 3 or 4 different listings and drawings and pictures and stuff, even if you don't have original Atlas drawings, why you can usually glean the dimensions off of these to build your own. And this kind of stuff is good shop projects. You know, there's some things here. I don't do a whole lot with the 16, but we'll add this to our watch list just as a reference. We'll take some dimensions and pictures. Let's just quickly look at the bigger pictures and see. This has been pretty much used and abused. You know, it's pretty, just from looking at the initial picture here, why it's got quite a bit of staining. It's kicked around for a while. No, it doesn't look like there's the knob on the handle. So you can go through and look at these pictures. Now this bushing right here looks to be the same bushing that will be used, and I'm not comparing inside dimensions or anything, but this is the same basic bushing that's built on that you use on the Atlas milling machine drawbar. I would speculate this is the same thing. Now, some of the dimensions wise, since this is a 6-inch, I would speculate these are virtually the same as far as diameters and everything of the through rod and things like that. I would speculate that they're virtually the same as the Atlas milling machine. So there again, that cross utilization of parts. This is just a standard milling cutter. I think these are a Morse Taper 2 on the milling machine. I would bet this is the same drawbar. Yeah, so I would speculate this is the same. Now, maybe this is an original Atlas handle, although it looks a little wonky. There's no knob on the end, which they probably did not put them on the lathe where they've got them on the hand wheels. But this one looks a little bit different. Anyway, nothing spectacular there. Used and abused. Is it worth $89.95 and $14.50 shipping? Yeah, maybe, but not to me. $500A milling attachment and 945 milling cutter tool holder set, $435 and $19.20 shipping. I'm not going to go back and look at this. Now, the only thing that I think these prices are way too high. The only thing that makes this kind of thing mildly appealing is it has the 945 milling cutter holder set. Now, I guess we probably should look at it and see what's actually here. And we'll just look at the pictures. This is a standard milling cutter. You know, I'm not going to give that much money for them. This one looks to be in okay condition. It does have the drawbar, and you know, it's got the drawbar stuff for the is this a 6 or a 10-inch? I believe the 500A was for the 10-inch, wasn't it? Yeah, 10 and 12-inch lathe. So this is the larger, you know, milling cutter attachment set. That brings the price of $435 down to where it doesn't hurt quite so bad, but I'm still not willing to give that much for them. Anyway, let's move on. We'll look at some of this other stuff that we've seen before. Tool holders, $30. Morse taper number 3 collets. No appeal for me there. Now here's a brand new Atlas 10F-19 Craftsman 537-041 10 and 12 inch lathe cross-feed nut milling machine. And I think there was some crossover. I'm not going to check numbers to see what fits what, but you're going to have to go back and research those. This one's down, and it's a brand new one. They've got it down to $26 and $8 shipping. You know, these are ones that you see historically listed out there for that $45 and $50, and now they're figuring out that they're not worth what they've been trying to get, so now we've got them down to $26, or else we've got more competition. Atlas horizontal milling machine instruction and parts manual, all models, 1962, brand new. This is somebody's reproduction of a milling machine manual, and I've seen this seller is doing a few of these free standard shipping. Atlas horizontal milling machine instruction, parts manual, all models, 1962, 20 pages, parts list, exploded diagrams, an important manual to help maintain your Atlas machine. Glossy protective covers front and back, heavy cardstock front and back covers, heavy paper pages, comb binding, 8.5 by 11 format, made in the USA. These are, you know, I've said before that I did a whole lot of manuals. I did pretty much all of these Atlas manuals that I deal with. I've got a lot of manuals on a lot of things. I did manuals way back when, and quit doing it because people were actually taking mine, Xerox copying them and putting them back out there. These are all the same thing. You know, they've gotten to where they're putting them on cardstock covers. I've always done mine on an ivory cardstock cover, and mine were all scanned and cleaned up. This one they've got $11.95 in shipping. I have not reintroduced these just because there's so many people doing them. Plus, they're readily available. If you go to vintagemachinery.org, or you get on the Atlas list or things like that, these have all been scanned in and they're there, so you can have them for free if you just want to download them and print them out. As I redo stuff here, I will be putting these manuals back on the Atlas Machine Shop website. If somebody wants them and wants to support my channel, I will put them out there. They're, you know, I'll have listings for them. They're all going to be basically the same. And I appreciate you supporting my channel by doing that. By the same token, they can be had for free, you know, so, you know, they're out there, take it for what it's worth and do it that way. This one, you know, I'm looking at the picture of the front of the manual, and it still's got the big discontinued stamp across the front, which Atlas did when they basically decommissioned these machines, or when they quit doing these machines. So, and Xerox copies of these were available directly from Atlas, which there's a story there too that I'll share at some point in time, but that's why I started doing manuals way back when I got my first shaper. So anyway, these are available. Will I spend this much on Fleabay to do this? And this one's one that was, whether it was cleaned up or if it was just another Xerox copy, I don't know, because they didn't bother to clean up the discontinued stamp on the front of it, which to me is kind of hokey if you're going to do that, but nonetheless, that's that. And then we're back into this old stuff from this seller that I really kind of ranted and raved about, that was really trying to screw people over. We go down, there's an end plate for the milling machine table, $29.95 and $6.95 shipping. I'd said before this was a good shop project, and as I was sitting here thinking about it, it's one we're going to do here real directly. We'll video all of that, because I think that's a relatively easy and inexpensive project to do, and you can have brand new bushings in it. They've got another one right down below it or two down for $25 and $6.50 shipping. So probably two different sellers, since there's a difference in price on them, but they're, you know, they're all the same. Then we get down to this stuff that we've looked at from before with this seller that I said I was blacklisting, doing horizontal mill arbor support arm assemblies, the M161, M1-9, and M1-60. This fool wants $700 and $65 shipping. You know, there's no way. And they're still here. I don't think he sold any of his junk that he's selling. This is the same seller the cover plate and label M152 for $100. Buy it now in $9.65 shipping. The belt guard, these are all off the same milling machine, I believe. It's got the upper belt guard cast iron, $500. Countershaft bracket, $225. No, these guys are smoking dope twice before they even think about getting on their computer, apparently. So there's nothing even worth buying from that seller. So let's move right on to shapers and see what we see here. There was a couple of things that just caught my eye on some of these listings. I believe this is that same seller got the bench legs for $400, and yeah, nothing worth having. Now there's a listing here. Let's see what the seller is. Okay, this is a seller that's been around for a while selling stuff. Atlas 7B metal shaper milling machine cross slide rail S7-4. He's got it listed for $32.99 and $24.99 shipping. The only reason, and I still stand by what I said, it's not worth buying these used casting parts on your machine, because they're not going to be in any better shape than what you've got. I believe this rail has been listed before. I could be mistaken, but he's wanting $32.99 and $24.99 shipping. Now, if you have a need for that, I don't feel that's a bad price for we'll consider it one of the main castings. It's one of the larger castings on the machine. He actually sent me a offer for like $25 or something like that, and I had said, because I'd saved it to my watch list. Now I didn't have a need for it. I really don't know why I'd saved it on my list, other than just curiosity or something that way. There was some reason that I saved it, but I got an offer for it. I didn't accept it because I have no need for it. But these guys are realizing that these parts are not worth what they've been able to scalp them out for here in the past. So there's a base casting. Now this is $69.99 and $109.25 shipping. That's way too much. You know, I would not even come close to giving that much. That's a fairly heavy casting. It's fairly large, so shipping's going to be high. But if you realistically had a need for this, I would say, and I'm getting more comfortable trying to put a price on some of this stuff, because, you know, this is what I think they should go for. And I think some of these sellers are realizing that they're way overpriced too, and that they realize that a lot of the prices that I'm quoting or saying I'm willing to give are more in line with what they're actually worth, because otherwise prices wouldn't be coming down the way they are on a lot of this stuff. This base casting, if you really had a need for one and it could be gotten in the door, shipping and everything, for $80 or $100, it's worth getting if you needed it. Other than that, not worth having. Down below, it's the knee casting that's got the back of the T-slot on the center busted out. They're wanting $59.99 and then another $122.20 shipping. You know, way too much. You know, it's a busted casting. You know, it's a inferior casting. It's not a good replacement at all. In the door, $50. That's all it's worth. Same way down here. Now there's, and I've covered this before, there's a S7-88X tool post clapper for the shaper with the tool holder. You know, these guys are trying to get $100 for these tool holders, $150, $125 for these tool holders. The tool holders are bringing a little bit of money. I did see there was two shaper tool holders by two different sellers. One was and these were both the internal tool holders for cutting keyways or internal features. And one of them was listed, I believe, for $90, and it was there for 2 or 3 days. Right above it, another one was listed for $80. So the seller saw that the first seller was selling it for $90. He thought he'd undercut it and sell his for $80. You know, giving at least the impression that it was a better deal. I see the one for $80 did sell, so that tactic worked for him. And a lot of times you'll see that somebody will list one for some astronomical price, or even just a little bit higher price, so another seller will come along and undercut them by a little bit of money, and creating the illusion that these are rare and desirable and you're getting a real good deal. And a lot of times you're not. So, you know, sit back, watch, prices will come down. So $215 and $17.50 shipping. I'm not going to give that for it. This is a good looking setup. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. But you know, it's, if you really have a need, it's probably worth that. You know, that's not really obnoxious for price wise, which is why I looked at it the first time. Now here's one. Excellent Atlas Craftsman Chrome Shaper Compound Table Milling Crank Handle 3/8 pre-owned, $79.95 and $7.95 shipping. Now I think that's too much for a compound handle, and let me read the description before we go and look at this. Excellent condition, original 3 3/4 inch wide Atlas Craftsman chrome ball crank handle. Interior bores 3/8 and 1/8 inch diameter in very fine order. All is shown. Now, I bought from this seller before. I've actually, over the past few years, I've bought a fair amount of stuff from this seller. I don't think these handles are worth $79.95 for a used handle to start with. So, and let's see, an $8 shipping. So shipping's not out of line, but $80 for the handle. I consider these handles in excellent condition. In the door, $50 in the door, and that to me is high. If I was buying one of these handles, I'm looking for one in this condition to be about $30 in the door is what I think they're worth. Now let's look at the pictures here real quick, because there's something that stands out to me on this. Now the handle looks okay. It's used. I mean, it's got some scarring to it. It's beat up. It's a standard crank handle here that we're looking at in this area here. When you look at this portion of the handle, this handle was originally a Zamac casting that was pressed into the handle, so it was the same material as the handle. That one looks different. And let's see the second big picture. Yeah, it looks about the same. I mean, this handle actually looks better from this side here in this area than it did in the first picture. I didn't like that great big gobby seam mark along there. But when you look at this handle, this portion of the handle here, that to me does not look like a Zamac casting. The color's different, so it's not chrome plated, or it doesn't appear to be. Let's look at it a little bit closer. If we look at this, you can look and see some horizontal striations around there, which leads me to believe that this is a turned handle. So I believe that's a replacement. I could be wrong, but I believe that's a replacement handle that we're looking at there. And somebody has turned this handle. It looks very similar to the ones that I see in See Out. And I haven't made it up to the shop yet today. I was going to grab one out of the drawer and just kind of compare them. I don't know for sure that this is one of my knobs on there, but I do not believe that's original. So here we are listing another one in excellent condition. Another excellent condition part. No, it's not. And then we're back down. We skip down a couple more, and we've got, and we'll just look at 3 of these here. And we've looked at all 3 of these before. This is from this same seller, Atlas 7B Shaper Cover S7-101. This is a large cover in this green color, pre-owned, $400 and $59.15 shipping. I'm not even going to go and look at these. We've talked about these before. I beat these to death. No. This is a used cast iron handle. Now, I do think these are, if I have my options to buy these, to buy an original cast iron or one of my aluminum replacements, I'm probably going to buy the cast iron over it, but it's not worth $400. I think I retail mine in that $200, $230 range for a brand new reproduction. To have this handle in the door, I'm not going to give any more than that. This is a $150, $175 casting, $150 casting plus shipping, $200 in the door. That's all this is worth at the most. Right below it, the smaller cover, the 7B cover original, $400 and $21.50 shipping. Nope. $100 and $20 shipping. $125 is all that guard is worth, not a penny more. The 7B Shaper Door S789A, $300. Nope. $50 in the door. 50 bucks, that's all it's worth. These guys can list them all day long. If you refuse to pay these exorbitant prices, refuse to pay more than they're worth, these prices are going to continue to come down. And I have noticed a trend where the prices are coming down. So I honestly believe we're making a difference here. So anyway, let's move right on to Atlas lathes, and then we'll close this out. There was, I thought there was something else. Somebody's just now listed since I looked this morning, a original Atlas Craftsman 12-inch metal lathe L3-326 steady rest, $309.95 and best offer. This is the open-sided steady rest that looks, it's got the open upper, one corner, a quarter of it's cut away basically to give you the support. This is the lighter duty rest for the lathes. Let's look at it, see what it says, see what we got. Excellent working condition, but needs a good cleaning, no cracks or repairs. $309.95 and free shipping. What's the description say? What's the description say? Original in excellent working condition. Well, it's in excellent working condition. They don't do any work. They sit there and the material spins on the inside. But look at the pictures. It will be the one you receive. Needs a good cleaning. Let's see here. Let's just look at big pictures. There's no sense in delving into this. Yeah, it's rusty. Got rust along the edges. Rusty, grungy looking. Yeah, it's been sitting in somebody's cold, damp garage or basement. Got rust on everything. What's it worth? What's it worth? In the door, 150 bucks. No more. No more than that. How about that? Original 10-12-inch lathe countershaft spindle grease cap, $14.99 and $4.99 shipping. That's the standard pressure grease cap that goes on the ends of the countershaft. That's used on the shaper. I don't believe that's used on the milling machine any place, but on the 10-inch lathe and on the shaper, it's there. It's kind of a unique little replacement. I've been contemplating the best way to reproduce those. And a reproduction would have to bring probably a little more than that. So in that respect, it's a good buy. Is it worth 20 bucks in your door? It's a used, stamped out cap. Should be worth about 10 bucks in the door. Is what, 10, 12, maybe 15 in the door. Now here's one that's unique. New listing. Two-step alloy pulley 9-427 worn vintage Atlas metal lathe TH42. $99.99 and $10.31 shipping. No. Okay. What does it say? I looked at this. This is one that I kind of stood out to me. Two-step alloy pulley 9-427 vintage Atlas metal lathe number TH42. There are bumps in the casting and the smaller pulley has some waves in it, but nothing that will affect performance. There are no chips or cracks. No. See, and today I'm not even ragging on people. This is just my, I guess I am ragging on people, but this is pretty much the honest impression that I can say with a smile on my face. Let's see, let's look at the smaller pictures rather than the blown up pictures. We can get a little more detail. Now you see all these neat little bumps that are on the casting. This has been stored wet. It's damp. The Zamac is deteriorating underneath the finish on it. It's going to continue to deteriorate. Will it be functional? Probably. Now, it kind of has the appearance that it's been sandblasted or bead blasted. I'm not 100% certain, because normally if you do that with any kind of a aggressiveness, why it cuts down through you get that fine white powder that's underneath all these little bumps here. And if we look at maybe you can't see it in this picture here. This picture, other than the few little bumps you see and along there, actually doesn't look too awful bad. But let's go on, because this will stand out to you. Now when you look at all of these little bumps along here, those are not just bumps in the finish. That's not the Zamac deteriorating. That's been, I'll bet that's been whacked on the inside to straighten it out. It was wavy or got crushed on this side, so they decided to pound on the inside with something that has these little pock marks on it, because that's the Zamac been driven outward. Next picture, you got your little, those are your deterioration bumps along there. That's this underneath that will be a nice white powder. Now, is it bad enough to affect the performance of the pulley? Probably not. It will probably function. Get all that crap down in there. And now when you look at this, it's not just a deterioration. It looks like it's been bent up a little bit. Seal in that hub looks real nice. This is all. So I guess the question is this rotting away pulley worth $100? And I think we already know my answer to that. This piece of junk is worth 25 bucks. 25 bucks and 10 bucks shipping. Okay, let's move on. Nice original Atlas 10 Craftsman 12-inch lathe countershaft 4-step pulley, $59.99. Now this is that, I believe this is the 1080 pulley, and I just bought one of these not too long ago. For a while you didn't see any of them. They were kind of made out of unobtainium, and then they started appearing a little bit more for the, you know, $50 to $89, and then shipping on top of it, and the shipping was all over the place too. So they were wanting $85+ shipping. The one I just bought, I think in the door, cost me about $42. I don't remember. It was, I think the pulley itself was about $35 is what I got, and they may have offered me a deal on that, and I took it. And I think in the door that was only $42, $45. You know, it was less than $50 in the door, shipping and everything. And I'm not going to look at this because we've seen these pulleys before. You can inspect this. I think I had a couple of issues with it, but maybe not. Anyway, I personally feel on these, and this will be the 10-80 pulley. You should be able to get these pulleys in the door for less than 50 bucks. You know, if they're wanting more than that, they're wanting too much. So, you know, take it for what it's worth. Change gears. Now these are 618 change gears. I see a couple of them listed here, and they're wanting $17.99 and $6.95 shipping. I've come to the conclusion that you should be able to have any of these change gears. Doesn't matter if it's for the 618, doesn't matter if it's for the 10-inch. You should be able to have any of these change gears in the door for less than 20 bucks. And I say you should be able to have them in the door for less than 18. A change gear should be worth 10 bucks and maybe 8 bucks shipping, 8 or 9 bucks shipping. So if you're paying more than $18, I think you're paying too much. If you're paying more than 20, why, we're beginning to be ripped off. So that's for what it's worth. I don't care what. And that should be a good condition pulley. That's not one of these that's all sharp toothed out and all screwed up. So if we continue hammering on these guys and we shop these, we're going to get them for a decent price. Now I do see, and there's one here, and I think I saw a couple, and I'm about done with this here. Let me kind of glance at stuff. I do see a hand wheel here, Atlas Craftsman 10-12-inch lathe hand wheel, 923 pre-owned, $24.99 and $10.50 shipping. I think we're getting down to where that's a reasonable cost. You know, here just a couple months ago we were seeing these hand wheels. They were listing them for 60, 75 bucks, 110 bucks, and wanting shipping on top of them. And we didn't really have any options. You know, if you wanted one of these hand wheels, you were going to get raked over the coals and give what they wanted for these hand wheels. Now I think we've shown they're way overpriced. We're seeing them for now $24.99 and $10.50 shipping. I think that's a reasonable cost. I think I looked at this hand wheel, and I think this was a reasonable hand wheel. It's no cherry, you know. There's There's let's just look at the big pictures of it here very quickly. There's the front of it. You can see it's been run, it's been on there, but it doesn't look like I don't see any breaks or anything. It looks kind of grungy down in this area, and I think there's some potential for beginnings of some cracking there, but I don't think that it's actually broken out. I think it might be a good viable hand wheel. It's got the knob on it. I think this is not out of line for what they're doing. You want to inspect. A lot of times these will be cracked along here. They bumped them or something like that, and they'll begin to crack right there in where the spoke joins the outer rim on the wheel. But this one looks to be okay. I don't see anything wrong with it. So I think for a hand wheel, and any of these hand wheels, I don't know that it really makes any difference on the size of them. This is going to be the larger for on like the apron. The smaller one has several applications. Oh, they've all got several applications across the Atlas line, but the smaller one fits on the tail stocks on the 6-inch. It fits on the index centers. There's several places that it goes. So I think when we can get these down to about $25 and then shipping, I think that's a reasonable cost for these, and I don't think we should pay any more for them. So there we go. And I think that's about all that I'd seen that kind of stuck out to me. Here's another hand wheel down here, $29.98 and $11.60 shipping. That's still a far cry from the $50, $75, $100 that they wanted for them. So I think we need to be shopping these pretty heavy, and I think I do see prices coming down. So maybe this is somewhat worth doing. Now here is and this I just ran across. Here is a lathe headstock spindle pulley, 10-79 with a 10-24 gear. They only want $19.99 and $15.50 shipping for it. Now you don't really have a need for one of these gears, but potentially, just as a thought, and all it is a thought, if you need a 1080 gear, it's foreseeable. Well, this is a 4-step. It is foreseeable that you could modify this gear, put a hub in it, and have a drive pulley rather than just a spindle pulley. And this one's no cherry. It looks like it's been used and abused a little bit, but I would think potentially you could go back, rework one of these pulleys, and have a viable pulley. Now, one of the things that you will notice on these headstock pulleys is quite often where the back gear engages in the index pin, these cutouts will be really chewed up. They'll be ovaled out where they've been beat against the locking pin for the back gear, and then these index holes around the outer perimeter of it will be pretty well egged out, or they'll be out the sides. They'll be kind of smeared back and worn back there where they haven't indexed real well with a pin, or somebody's really slammed them into position and stuff. So that's something to look at on these pulleys themselves. But I think they could be potentially utilized for other Atlas applications for a whole lot less money than what they are asking for some of the overpriced stuff. So there we go. I think that's about all I got for you today. There's a bunch of other junk here that we can always continue to go through, but that gives you some ideas. Now see, here's on down here, and these have been here for a while, there's a couple of change gears, one right after the other. A 56 tooth, these are for 10 and 12 inch lathes, 56 tooth pre-owned, $24.99 and $5.95 shipping, and right below it is from the same seller, I believe, a 46 tooth that they want $15.99 and $5.95 shipping. There again, I won't give that much for them. The 46 tooth, it should be $18 in the door, and the same way with the 56 tooth. Now the 56 tooth is one that you use on a lot of things, so it's probably a little bit more desirable pulley, but not enough to where I'm going to give 30 some bucks for it. So these change gears rather than pulleys, these gears should be worth about $20 or less. You should be able to get them in your door. So if they're wanting more than that, let them sit there. either another one will come along or the prices on these will come down. So don't be sucked in by overpaying for this junk that they're selling. So anyway, I'm going to do a little editing here on this, and I will throw it out sometime today or in the morning. Comment suggestions, leave in the comments section for me below. And as always, guys, thanks for taking the time to watch.